Today we will talk about culture and ethics. That what is the role of culture in the organization and how one can identify a culture of the organization. The first feature in order to identify organizational culture is the firm's origin. Like what is the historical background of the firm and when is that specific organization formed? If it has been formed like a decades ago, it would have an old way of doing things, or maybe it would be reflected in their culture. And if it is a new firm, new organization, likewise the culture would be different. The second way to identify the culture of the organization is the type of business in which that specific organization is operating. Either it is a software firm, it is a textile firm, it is a food business, it is any type of business would have its own culture. For example, Google, it allows its employee to go home, think about whatever they can, and think about different innovative ideas, and they can give any innovative idea that come to their mind. So this is how the type of business describes the culture of the organization. Third feature is a management style. That is the what is the style of the management that has been followed by an organization. For example, either there is one CEO in the organization who is making all the decisions for the firm, or there are like all the employees are empowered enough to take decisions. So it is a different kind of management style that has been followed by every organization. So it depicts in their culture. So that these are three main features that we can say describes a culture of the organization. Moving towards the business climate, then there is a business climate that is dependent upon political and economic factors in which business is operating. Okay, it can be a competition in the market, investor interest, regulation, overall health of the economy, cost of labor, etc., etc. So based on that, company either outsource their operations or offshore their companies. Right? Outsource means that company outsourced one or two services to other firms in order to save cost or maybe increase efficiency or anything like that. And offshore is when company gives total, the complete operation to another firm or in another country, such as iPhone has offshore company in China, right? So what happens is that China makes iPhone now. iPhone is assembled, made in China now. So that is an offshore company in China. So you must have heard a lot of offshore words about in political scenario as well. So these are two things that in which business climate can be evaluated. Then there comes the ethics at the workplace. For this, you have to go through a book that is page number 14 to page number 17. But here I would say there are common terms that are regarding the ethical guidelines that one should follow at the workplace. Number one is one should be honest. Second is do not harm somebody with your words or with your actions. Then be fair when you are giving facts and figures. Do not put extra burden on somebody or do not blame somebody for no reason. Then honor intellectual property rights. Like if you are copying something from somebody, so you have to give reference to that. Respect confidentiality. If any employee or any customer or any client do not want to share any information to anybody else, then you have to respect that and you have to keep it confidential. Last but not the least, be professional when you are communicating at your workplaces. That is extremely, extremely important. Do not get informal. Do not use slang languages while you are doing business communication. You are doing business communication via email, memo, or letter. So you have to, maintain a very formal way of communication when you are doing a business communication or technical communication. Now moving towards another topic, that is correspondence. Correspondence is how do you maintain correspondence in the workplace? How do you communicate with each other via emails, via letters, via memos? It all comes under correspondence. And now when it comes to business correspondence, there are a few principles that one should know while working in the organization. The first one is that it has to be a clarity of style and substance. then conciseness of information, then continuity of correspondence, then adherence to set format. There are certain formats that has been followed by an organization. So you have to follow that format. Format for emails, format for letters, format for memos, then simplicity of ideas. Okay, do not make it complex so that it should be understandable by everybody. Naturalness of information. Do not temper information. Present as it should be presented. Then presentation of information, how you are giving presentation. I've told you that you should be using more visual items in order to give presentation of in business communication. Then objectivity of language, it should be formal, it should be humble, it should be neutral, not blaming others or not hurting others. Then credibility of document, whatever you are presenting, it should be credible, you should have facts and figures relevant to that document. So you have to maintain all these things when you are doing a business correspondence, right? Then there are different business letters that we write, first such as invitation, instructions, answer to inquiry, complaint, adjustment letters, reference letters, advice, introducing a new business, amalgamation of business, or acknowledgement letter. So they are like broader categories are positive letters, negative letters, letters, and persuasive letters, right? So when you are writing any letter to boost your sale or to persuade your customer to buy something, so that is a persuasive business letter. If you are sending a letter to somebody telling them that their admission has not been improved, or their product or anything that has not been approved, that is a negative sort of letter. And if you are telling somebody that they have been promoted, or they got raise in salary, or customer is getting any reward because of their long term connectivity with an organization, so these are positive business letters. So, and neutral are the acknowledgement letter, and the letters that do not have any positive or any negative kind of news. They are just the neutral type of letters. There are three types of style that we use when we write letters, such as full block style, modified block style, and simplified style. Usually, business letters follow full block style, that it has all the information is left aligned, right? And it is on the specific letterhead of the organization. While there are other modes of writing a letter, writing the page layout of the letter, that is modified block format letter, in which all text is left aligned except the author's address, date, and closing, right? So they are not left aligned, but in a full block style, everything is left aligned. Paragraphs are not indented, and the author's address, date, and closing begin at the center point. That is the difference between full block style and modified block style. And simplified block style is, as name implies, it is a simplified way of writing any letter. Basically, in simplified style, business letters contain all the same elements as the full block and semi-block letters. Like the full block format, the simplified format left justifies every line except for the company logo or letterhead. The date line is either slightly right off center or flush with the center of the page, right? So they are more or less same, just a difference between alignment of the text, right? But our focus will be on full block style with letterhead. So this is the example. So you can go through this example and you would analyze that how it has been written. The date comes after the letterhead, then in site address, the person who is sending an email, then salutation, the name of the person, then object, the body paragraph, that is the ABC format. You start with an objective, why are you writing certain email, a certain letter, and then it's a body in which you give further reasoning, and then it's a closing, humble closing. So ABC format that you follow, and then it's your complementary closing, signature, writer signature block, and end notations. right? So in which you refer to the other enclosures that are attached with the letter, right? These are end notations to whatever you have attached with the letter in order to make reader refer to that specific information. That is end notation. So now we will cover each one by one. Now when you now there are certain correspondence guidelines that are very important, such as when you start writing any email, any letter, or any memo, first of all, you should know your purpose. Okay, as I said you earlier, there is an ABC format in which you start with an abstract, then there's a body, and then there is a conclusion. In your abstract, you mention the purpose, and the body is about background, reasoning, context, and then it's a closing. So you should know your purpose first. So these are few examples. If you are writing a letter or you are writing a memo or email, it starts with a purpose. Then you should know your reader, to whom you are sending your email, your message to, such as you should have a knowledge about your target audience. Then follow correct format. And what is the correct format? That is ABC format. The abstract introduces the purpose and usually gives a summary of main points to follow. The body contains supporting details and thus makes up the largest part of a letter or memo. And then conclusion. Readers remember first when they read last. Then it's the 3C strategy, that when you are writing, you should be able to capture the attention of the reader. Then you should have convincing words to convince them to act accordingly. And then you should have a contact, plan of action that you will give to the audience to whom you are contacting to. Then it's the stress, the you attitude. Okay, you have to focus on them, on the audience, on the reader, not on you. So you have to replace the pronouns such as I, me, and we with you and you. Then use attachment for details. You have to be attaching a lot of documentations and visual items uh, in order to be credible of what you are saying. Then be diplomatic. Do not order somebody, do not demand, but use persuasive words in order to encourage your employees, in order to encourage the person to whom you are sending an email to act accordingly. Then after you have written your email, your memo, you have to edit it. Editing is very, very, very crucial. Okay, you need to see if you have made any error, if you have followed the ABC format or not, so edit it carefully. And then last is the guideline is respond quickly. If you received any email, you have to respond as early as possible to that email when you have the necessary document to support what you are saying. Now, moving towards the format of the letter that you are write to the organization, and always remember letters are usually for external correspondence, not the internal correspondence. Internally, we write memos. So there's a letterhead of your organization, then it's a date, then it's the inside address, then subject line, salutation, body, complimentary closing, writer signature block, your full name, and end notations. So what is the letterhead? Okay, place your full return address and the date in the heading if no letterhead. Avoid writing name. Your name appears at the end of the letter, so do not write it in your letterhead. Spell out words such as street, avenue, first, and west rather than abbreviating them. The date usually goes directly beneath the last line of the return address. Avoid abbreviating the name of the month. Okay, write it completely, such as February, the complete name. Begin the heading about 2 inches from the top of the page. If you are using letterhead that gives the company address, enter only the date below the last line of the letterhead. In case you do not have a letterhead, then the above instructions will be implemented accordingly. Inside address is the recipient full name, title or designation, address in the inside address, one line below the date. So the whom you are sending an email will be an inside address. Subject line is very important. It describes the purpose of writing. So it follows the recipient address. Insert one blank line above and one blank line below the subject line. The subject line in a letter functions as an aid in focusing the topic and filling the letter. Subject lines are especially useful if you are writing to a large company. So focus on your subject line. Some people do not write subject line, but it is important because it tells the reader the purpose of your writing a letter. Then salutation is simply when you are addressing a recipient. In most business letters, the salutation contains the recipient personal titles such as Mr., Ms., Doctor, or last name followed by a colon. If you are on a first name basis with the recipient, use only the first name in the salutation. Address women as Miss unless they have expressed a preference for Miss or Mrs. So Miss means either she's married or unmarried, doesn't matter. Professional titles are such as professor, senator, major, take precedence over Miss and similar courtesy titles. So try to use professional titles. When a person's first name could refer to either a woman or a man, one solution is to use both the first and last name in the salutation. Avoid to whom it may concern because it is impersonal and dated, right? So just write the name to whom you are sending the letter. Dear Professor Ali and Dr. Alishba, to recipient, Dear Miss Asma, Miss Alina, and Mr. Asim, 3. Dear colleagues, members, or other suitable collective terms. So these all terms are acceptable. In other circumstances in which you do not know the recipient's name, use a title appropriate to the context of the letter, such as Dear Customer or Dear IT Professional or Dear Team, right? So then you have to write it in that manner. Then it's the body. Body is very important because it carries the large part of your letter. So the body of the letter should begin a line below the salutation. You have to leave one line and then you start, writing your body. Leave a line within paragraphs as well. To provide a fuller appearance to a very short letter, you can increase the side margins, increase the font size, or insert extra space if you want to do that. Components are purpose, details, call for action, and closing off. Then it's a complementary closing. Type the complementary closing a space below the body. Use a standard expression such as sincerely, yours truly, regards, anything that you would like. If the recipient is a friend as well as a business associate, you can use a less formal closing such as best wishes or best regards. Capitalize only the initial letter of the first word and follow the expression with a comma, right? So, but always remember you have to leave one line spacing after each paragraph. Okay, so that is very important. It gives a formal look to your letter. Then it's a writer's signature block. Type your full name, four lines below and aligned with the complementary closing. Sign the letter in the space between the complementary closing and your name. So what you would do, you would leave four lines after your complementary closing, and then you would write your full name. And above your full name, you will be signing the letter, or you will be doing your initials. On the next line, include your business title if appropriate, and then following lines may contain individual contact information, email, telephone, fax, or anything that is important. Last thing in any letter is end notations. These are reference initials, such as show the letter writer's initials in capital letters, followed by a slash mark or colon, and then the initials of the person typing the letter in lowercase letters. When the writer is also the person typing the letter, no initials are needed. Or you can give enclosure notations such as that everything that is attached with the letter. So you can give that notations at the end of the letter. Then copy notation is that tells the reader that a copy of the letter is being sent to somebody else as well. And blind copy notation is that when you do not want the addressee to know that this copy has been sent to somebody as well, and it has also happened in an email. So a blind copy notation appears only on the copy, not on the original document. So you just send the original document, and in its copy you do BCC and the name of that person. So I hope you are clear up till now regarding the format of the letter. Thank you for your time. Take care. Allah Hafiz.